Yep, sweep the bees off. The question is, the guy's got a hive that died last year. He wants to put bees back in the hive. Sweep any loose bees off. Don't worry about the ones with their heads in the hole. Don't take tweezers and pull them all out. You're wasting time. Just sweep most of the dead bees off, clear off any debris, throw your bees in there. They'll be fine. They'll be just fine. This is one, again, where we can't really put the queen cage in there, but this is all drawn comb with honey in it. So we're going to be able to release the queen in here, let her go right to work. We don't really have to worry about putting the cage in there because we're going to release the queen. That one's got put her in the bottom bee. Always. I find a place to work here.
Rick, because you have honey, you don't have to feed them?
I would feed them.
You would?
I would. David's just slow. He's not up to speed with me. I would have my syrup mixed at 5 o'clock this morning. I don't care how late I got home last night. I'd been out mixing syrup, and I'd have a bucket ready to feed every hive I put in.
Well, you can release the queen because you've got drawn comb.
Because I have drawn comb, I'd rather release the queen. Here's my philosophy. Bees are put on foundation like we just put that other one on. There's no place for the queen to work. Why do they care? They don't care that she's in there in the cage not doing anything because there's no place for her to do anything anyway. You put her on drawn comb and then wondering why she's staying in that cage not doing what she's supposed to be doing. Because they just cleaned all those cells. It only takes them minutes from the time they get in to start cleaning cells. Now they're ready for her to lay and she's not laying because she's in the cage. What's wrong with her? I know I give bees human traits, and maybe I shouldn't, but that would be my philosophy if I had to pick one. She's on a comb. She should be laying immediately. She's in a cage. She's not. There must be something wrong with her. Be the killer. So I direct release when I'm on drawn comb. This is a little bit different procedure than we would normally use with a package of bees. I had it. Down. Because with this one, we don't put her in. We put bees in. Here. We're going to put the bees in first. That's enough. It's just David.
I don't know. I was stung last year and I didn't have any reaction, so...
Ow! Stop doing that.
Never do it again.
No, I thought you almost get it with the stinger still in there, but I didn't.
What do you use to make small?
I'm using baling twine. Okay. Direct release. Candy end. I'm still going to leave it alone. I'm going to take the other end off. I don't stick my fingers with the hive tool. I'm going to pull that staple out. I'll leave it up there so David will get in his tire later on. I'm now going to put this queen right on top of those bees and watch her walk out and walk in. You are, aren't you? There you go, right there. There she goes. Come on, get out of there. She won't come out. Get down in there. There you go. Come on, get up there. There you go. she's in. Notice the bees didn't attack her, they didn't come after her, they didn't jump all over her, they just greeted her happily. Get out of my cage. I didn't think Steve was key.
They don't have an allegiance to the queen and I don't know.
They built that allegiance on the way up here. Yeah, now they have an allegiance to the queen because she's in the hive.
Now what
On the way up
happens
here, they got
whenever
familiar with her. They were happy with her. You know, she was walked in and accepted. No other bee without her smells can be allowed in this hive from this moment on.
So in other words, on the ride up here with her hanging in there, they all became acquainted.
Yep,
Yeah, okay.
she's now Mama.
Yeah, okay.
If we had a feeder there, we could put it on.
So all these bees flying around there, they're not going to go from hive to hive, right?
They might.
They might?
Well, I hate putting bees on warm sunny days. What happens, all these bees flying around here are going to pick a house to go into because everybody's so confused. We just put 4 packages in there. They're going to go about anywhere they want. If you put 10 hives in a row, you'd find the 2 on the ends had most bees. Ones in the middle would have the weakest number of bees.
now for us, we're picking up now, just get around
No, get me in. The faster you get them in there, the happier they'll be. Want to make sure, it's part of the master beekeeper thing. You can have smoking going. Anything else I can answer for anybody?
Can you use 2 shallows instead of a deep one?
2 mediums, yes, but not 2 shallows. 2 shallows have too much space in between. But 2 mediums, yes. I would still install the bees in 1 medium. If you're using foundation, using drawn comb, put 2. But if you're using a medium of foundation, I would only put 1 down. Those bees will all fit in the medium. Alright. Okay?
So, my bees died.
Yeah.
Alright, I'm going to put them into a already
Yep.
drawn. My other super already has a bunch of honey left in it.
Yeah.
So just leave that off until I put it done with a bucket of sugar water.
Yeah, I would. I would.
Then put it back on top.
Put it right back on.
Alright.
Feed them 1 bucket, then put it right back on.
Okay.
Yep.
Would it be helpful to put
That might be when you do fumigillin, if you're going to do fumigillin,
Oh, that's what
that
I'm
first
gonna do,
bucket.
As long as you know
Yeah,
that
yeah,
honey's
yeah.
clean.
Yep.
just put a hive before
Oh, yeah. You can throw a frame of honey in there, won't hurt anything. Yep.
when we split it, everything on the bottom will take
Yeah.
this moment.
Pretty much this time of year. 2 weeks from now it'll be full, but right now it's empty. Yep.
What makes a honey not clean?
Disease. I'm talking about a diseased honey that will pick up and spread amongst your hives because you're slapping sprays of honey everywhere. That'd be very hard. Disease before you go start moving stuff around.
Have you ever done, and what's your opinion about, instead of putting the queen in the top, you put it in front, pushing it so it's on the top?
I'll do that sometimes with requeening. I never do it with a package of bees because I have to have the hive open anyway.
Okay.
And where are the bees going to congregate tonight if I have my feeder pail on?
Yeah.
Right underneath the feeder pail. So it makes sense to put the queen on the top in between the frames. If I'm requeening in the fall, I kill a queen today, I'll come back tomorrow, I might just slide her in the front entrance because it's easier. But this time of year, no, because the bees will cluster. If it gets cold tonight, 35 degrees, the bees are going to cluster.
Yeah.
Guess what? They're not sitting on the queen anymore.
Yeah.
They're keeping each other warm, but they're not keeping that queen warm.
So would you say I could just use one? I have a medium.
Yep, just 1 box.
Just
All
one
you need.
box.
Yep, all you need.
If they're not keeping the queen warm, how does she survive?
But you won't. You'll be coming up tomorrow for another $30 queen for David.
Oh,
If you put her on the bottom board, and they leave her tonight to go keep each other warm, she's going to die.
But they're going to stay near that sugar water, I think.
Yeah.
Syrup.
Well, they're going to cluster.
Yeah.
And where they cluster is always hanging from something. So they're going to hang right below that sugar water pail probably and hang right there.
oh wow.
And she's going to be on the bottom board in the wrong place.
We're just going to set that pail right on top of
Yep, right on top of the inner cover. Cover up that hole in the inner cover with it.
So
way the other bees can't rob from
What
it.
about the other, the door? Just have the small door open?
If you don't have a water bottle on the front, I'd leave the probably the larger hole open.
No.
Yeah, I like the larger hole. I don't like that little tiny hole.
Why isn't this can in one of these hives?
Because I dumped it out of that cage and he didn't have anything there and I didn't put it in.
Okay,
He didn't have another box for me to put it in, so I just left it out.
That can of sugar water, you dump that in that bucket
You can if you want to.
along with your syrup?
It's corn syrup is what it is.
Okay, but you dump that in the bucket?
You can dump it in with a bucket, you know, along with your sugar water.
Yep, then just,
It doesn't matter.
yep,
How long
okay.
before you have to change the sugar water?
Probably sugar water on the first package you put in there might be a whole week. Once you get it gone cold and you start getting going good, probably 3 or 4 days it'll make you a gallon. That's just how fast they take it.
wow.
Once they got a place to store it, then they'll start sucking it out of that bucket and store it. And it'll look like honey. Because just sugar